Welcome to Michigan, a state bordered by 4 of the 5 Great Lakes, known for its ecological diversity, agricultural richness, and history. Hi, I'm Rachel LeMaster, an intern with California State University Northridge, working here at Grand Valley State University. Although this is our lab, most of our fish collection occurs out in the field. We'll come back here later, but let's go. We made it. Welcome to the Robert B. Annis Water Resource Institute, or AWRI for short. This field station acts as a hub for research, education, and community here at GVSU. Beyond it lies Muskegon Lake, where I did research alongside Dr. Carrie Ann Sharitt, looking into the parasitism of freshwater fish. We headed out onto the boat to collect fish using 2 methods. The first one being pike netting, which you can actually see them on the ground next to us, and the other being electrofishing. Pike netting took a lot longer. You needed a 5-person team to set up the nets, to wait 24-hour period, then go out the next day, collect the nets, see what was in the nets, measure the fish, and then release them back into the wild, unless we had kept them for our study. The other form was electrofishing. It's where we have 2 rods on the front of the boat that send an electrical current into the water about 3 feet in depth. We collect the fish by netting and then bring them onto the boat, measure them, and then also release them back into the wild. But what species were we looking at? And why was it so important that we look at the parasites that they carry? Let's talk to Dr. Sharitt to find out.
Hi, right now we are studying parasites that are found within 10 different species of fish in Muskegon Lake. I got interested in studying parasites when I was in grad school because of some time I spent in Canada working with parasitologists. Parasites are not often covered or studied in ecosystems. People tend to have like the species they focus on, but they don't consider all the parasites that are living within these big organisms that people like to study. And so as a result, we don't know much about them impacting ecosystems. How do they impact their animal host? And then how does that have like larger ripple effects within the ecosystem? And so I was looking at how it changes the rate and ratios at which they excrete nitrogen and phosphorus in their excretion. Right now in Muskegon Lake, I mentioned we're looking at 10 different species. 5 of these species are part of the sunfish family. So pumpkin seed, bluegill, largemouth bass, smallmouth bass, and rock bass. The other 5 species that we're looking at are ones that were selected for a variation of reasons. A couple of the other species we're looking at haven't been studied much, but then we're also looking at yellow perch, which is actually one of the most studied species of fish within Muskegon Lake.
So what do we do with the collected fish? We can't just leave them here at the lake, right? We have to take them back to the lab, so let's go. We're back. This is where our investigation begins. Behind me here is our dissection station. We'll be using a dissection scope to look closely at the internal and external structures of the fish. The parasites we see in these fish represent just one stage of a much larger, more complex life cycle. They play a vital role in maintaining the balance of freshwater ecosystems. But as the climate changes, how is the parasite life cycle being affected? And why are these often overlooked organisms so important to our freshwater environments? Dr. Sharitt will tell us.
So, some research suggests that with climate change we'll have less parasites. Perhaps parasite species that have gone extinct and no longer exist because the waters are too warm. That said, there's other research that suggests, especially for parasites that only have one host, that it may be possible for parasites to have more offspring each year if the water is warmer longer, which would suggest that fish would get more, or animals in general would get more infected from parasites. 2 different lines of evidence for what's happening with climate change. I think it's going to be very location dependent. It's about both parasites declining and increasing due to climate change.
Our investigation into the fish of Muskegon Lake revealed that parasites are more than just tiny invaders. They're powerful indicators of ecosystem health. By observing their presence, diversity, and cycle stages, we can gain valuable insight into the environmental conditions of the lake. These organisms may be small, but they're deeply connected to larger patterns of biodiversity, host relationships, and climate-driven change. Understanding parasites helps us better understand the ecosystem as a whole and how to protect it going forward.